Hello. Now, I want to make a quick video on Sunday. I think around a month ago, somewhere in 2.7, I think I made a video basically stressing people to pull Sunday because he's likely going to be the actual Robin of the 3.x patches. People are saying, oh my god, Robin is still going to be meta. Robin's still gonna be fine, or there's gonna be a replacement for Sunday who can give like team-wide action advance similar to Robin while also giving his very good buffs and all that energy, right? However, we still don't have any leaks on any support like that at all, so it's kind of baseless. And currently, especially for, let's say, Castress, the 3.2 anniversary DPS drop, she's likely just going to straight up have Sunday as a best in slot, right? Now, I'm not only telling you to only pull Sunday because of Castress. He is a best in slot with My Day, who is before Castress. He is a best in slot with Aglaia. I think at E2S1, he is a best in slot with Herda. He's best in slot in damn near every single hyper carry scenario as well. Of course, I will say this is with the Lycone. Sunday without the Lycone is still a fine pull, a really good unit. However, with the Lycone, he becomes a severely better unit, right? Like it basically just gaps every single other hyper carry support by a large margin. And yes, I have seen a video of Sparkle being able to replace Sunday on a My Day team. However, that video in specific had two 4-piece win sets at over 160 speed and crit damage substat rolls. So that is very unrealistic for 99% of the player base, and don't even get me started on the S5 DDD, okay? 99% of the player base doesn't even have an S5 DDD outside of the two 4-piece 160 speed win sets, alright? So get out of the way. Sunday is 99% of the time a best in slot with all of the upcoming DPSs, except for Herda. Herda's best in slot currently is RMC. However, once a Noxa releases and actually does some good damage numbers, Tribi will probably be better than Remembrance MC straight up. And after the buffs Tribi received in V3, I would not be surprised if even now she's just straight up better than Remembrance MC, right? However, the reason I want to talk about Sunday is because of him and his Lycone. It is so valuable that people kind of forget the other two buffs the Lycone gives. Everyone only ever mentions the skill point positivity he gains with his Lycone. However, it also increases his damage boost and as well increases the energy he gains. So it's a lot easier for him to get ult off, leading to more skill points generated in the end, the higher speed you probably have him at. This is why he's so well ran with Wo-Wo, is because Wo-Wo's ult as well gives 20% energy when completely maxed, and this is really nice, obviously, as it allows him to get his ult off more often. Sunday will likely continue to be a best in slot with all of these 3.x DPSs, or at least a majority of them, and I'm not sure how accurate this is because of how far away we are from Phanon. However, we did get a small leak like a few weeks ago on the Honkai Star Rail Leaks Reddit where someone just randomly dropped this for no reason, and they just said that Sunday would likely be a best in slot with Phanon. So if we take this leak to be true at all, Sunday is a best in slot with Aglaia, one of the best in slots with Herda, a best in slot with My Day, a best in slot with Castress, and a best in slot with Phanon. This man is a best in slot in literally every fucking team at this point. Now, do I think he will get power crept in the future? Yes. There is no such thing as future-proof units in these types of gacha games, especially Honkai Star Rail. I usually give most units around a 1-year lifespan for being able to use them well without severe investment, right? So take with that what you will. However, I do think Sunday will last most people quite a long time in these 3.x patches. I think the only thing that could maybe make Sunday lose his spot as like this really goated support for the 3.x DPSs is an RMC replacement. I think everyone is kind of eyeing that currently. After what happened with Fugue, straight up just being an upgrade over HMC, a lot of people are starting to believe, rightfully so, that at some point within the 3.x patches, we probably will end up getting another true damage support that is limited, meaning they're most likely going to straight up just be better than Remembrance MC. And Remembrance MC even currently is really fucking good. He is like really good. The true damage literally makes like anyone who scales off of energy basically do 50% more damage. Okay, so if you're doing 1 million, you're now doing 1.5 million when you put a Remembrance MC in there and you have mem support, which is very strong, right? So I'd highly recommend Sunday, even more than I was before in 2.7, because back then we didn't really know what Casterus was going to have as her best in slots. However, with the new relic set, having her at 95 base speed seems to be the best way to run her, as it gives you 32% crit value and the 2 pieces a 10% quantum damage bonus. And this obviously implies that because her speed is just completely at the floor, you are going to want to run a 100% action advancer on her team. And we just so happened to have gotten a 100% action advancer in 2.7 who action advances both the memo sprite and the character, and whose all buffs apply perfectly to an HP scaler who doesn't scale off attack. Sunday. Right? Oh, surprise. Can't believe I was talking about Sunday. So yes, I do think Sunday has amazing value. I think personally he will rerun on Casterus's banner in 3.2. Considering they reran Robin within 3 patches for Fei Xiao, it would make sense for them to rerun Sunday within 3 patches for Casterus, if he truly is a best in slot with her. So, Sunday, 20% crit rate passive, absolutely fucking blows Sparkle and Bronya's passives out of the water. 20% crit rate passive, 20% energy on his ult with a minimum of 40 energy gained. So if a character has like a really low energy ult, like let's say Triby's ult is now around 120 energy, so it wouldn't actually give her only 20% of her ult cost, it would actually just straight up give her 40, which is a third or 33% of her ult cost. So at minimum, it will always be 20% of a unit's energy cost, or 40 energy. It never goes below 40 energy whenever you use Sunday's ult on someone. So do keep that in mind. So 20% crit rate passive, more skill point positive than Sparkle with the light cone. He gives more damage boost as well. I think he gives like 50% summon damage bonus, like for a memo sprite. So any attacker who's going to mainly use the memo sprite for damage will obviously benefit the most from him. This is why Jing Yuan is so good with Sunday, is that most of his damage comes from his Lightning Lord, which is a summon, and that summon receives Sunday buffs. So, Casterus, I think we've all seen the teaser of her animation by now. Pollux, the dragon which is alongside her, and her memo sprite, very likely will do the most damage compared to her herself. If we were to just look at the animations that they gave that dragon, there's no way that dragon gets a rift open, comes out through the void, flies up, and fucking beams you, and then only does like 100k damage. Okay, I will be depressed if that actually ends up happening. So very high likelihood that Casterus's main damage output is the memo sprite and not her herself, even though she probably will have some damage to her herself. However, mainly the memo sprite, right? Which means Sunday's increased damage bonus for characters on their summons or memo sprites is really good for Casterus. Even currently, we don't really have anyone who can take full advantage of Sunday. Jing Yuan is kind of the only one. However, Casterus is actually like taking full advantage. Not only does she really rely on Sunday's action advance, but she's also going to rely likely on his energy and his buffs towards memo sprite / summon. So his complete kit is basically dedicated towards Casterus, and that's likely gonna be why Casterus ends up being so strong on release. I am pretty confident Casterus will be significantly stronger than the rest of the cast on release, because if you remember, the last anniversary DPS drop was Acheron, And I think all of us are aware of what type of effect Acheron had on the meta. People back then were coping. My Dill with a Sparkle is still the strongest in the game. My Dill, even without a Sparkle, is still good enough, close to Acheron. These people were fucking coping back then, okay? Acheron completely cleared them, and to make it even worse, she got future best in slot support with Jiaoqiu, which only made her skyrocket even further. Jiaoqiu increases Acheron's potential vastly, okay? Like an Acheron without a Jiaoqiu and an Acheron with a Jiaoqiu is a completely different fucking unit. It's basically the equivalent of taking Sunday out of a Jing Yuan team. Your performance just absolutely flops without a Jiaoqiu, right? So that's all I want to say. I just wanted to make a video real quick since we're getting closer to 3.2. Of course, right, you can pull whoever you want. You can just skip Sunday if you really want to at the end of the day. However, I do have to stress that Sunday with his Lycone is probably the best investment you could possibly do in the entirety of the game currently. That is like over Robin, maybe even over Tribby, who is another limited harmony who got decently buffed, because everybody, like every single upcoming DPS just has Sunday as a best in slot with his Lycone. He's just that good. And because of his skill point positivity, once again, you can run him alongside Huohuo, allowing you to get more and more and more energy. And this as well helps with Remembrance MC, as this allows him to get his ult off more often, which gives him, I believe, a 40% increased charge for getting Mimi up with the action advance. So Huohuo, Remembrance MC, and Sunday combo is just absolutely gross in this game. And that's actually the reason why Aglaia is one of the strongest, Aglaia is one of the strongest sustain DPSs at E0S1, is because she can take advantage of that exact comp I just mentioned. Of course, I think Robin is slightly better than Remembrance MC, maybe. I'm not sure if that's the case at E0S0 when it's more annoying to get her ult up. However, I do think at E0S1 Robin is slightly better than Remembrance MC. However, our Remembrance MC is incredibly close on an Aglaia team, and he can really benefit from having Huohuo on the team as well. So Sunday benefits from Huohuo, Remembrance MC benefits from Huohuo, main DPS benefits from Huohuo's energy, and on top of that, you also are getting energy from Sunday. It's just absolutely perfect, right? So that's going to be the video. Pull for E0S1 Sunday if you can in 3.2. Please save for him. I don't want people to be in another Robin situation where they skip Robin for 2 patches in a row and then look back on it and are like, oh, fuck. Right? I should have pulled for Robin. This girl is like one of the most universal harmonies in the game. She's making every single team clear like 2 cycles faster by just having her on your team. Basically, Sunday is probably going to be the exact same thing here, right? So that's going to be the video. Hope you all enjoyed. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace.